Hello, my fellow listeners. Welcome. Welcome to my world. My name is Amani, and you are now listening to the Vagary Tapes podcast. So sit back, relax, and chill, because we're about to have a chat. So, on this episode, I am joined here by my beautiful, beloved, talented, smart, introspective, love of my life, my ride or die, my A1 day one, the Thelma to my Louise.
Period.
My sister, Tobi.
Yo.
What's up, dude?
Hey.
So, say hello to the listeners.
Hey. Hi. How you doing? Bonjour. Whatever.
Yeah.
Language.
Yeah.
Hi. Good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are, wherever you're listening. Hi.
Yeah, so we got a meaty topic for you guys today, and so I just had to bring her on to help me talk about it. Today we're going to be talking about displacency and us growing up living in a bit of an unstable way.
Environments.
As in like bouncing around from place to place. We moved a lot, but we weren't like military kids or anything like that.
I ain't no army brat. Never that.
Oh my gosh. Although I could have covered this topic on my own just fine, I thought it would make more sense to have you on here with me because this isn't just my story, it's yours too. And not only that, but I think you bring a really unique perspective on the whole situation in comparison to me because it's a life that you've only ever known for the most part.
Right.
Yeah. So this has been your living situation since you were 2 years old. I don't think you've had any memories of our old house before you were 2, right?
No. Not at all.
Yeah, and I was 10 when we started moving around, so I have a decent 6 or 7 years, maybe more, of memories living in a house and not having to deal with moving around too much. So I wanted to bring you on here to talk about it. We've had many conversations about this at many times, but I just thought it might be interesting to talk about it on here and share some insight with others. Plus, we can give a bit of extra perspective on how our narrative has molded us and molded our views on life today. I feel like it's a big part of why we are the way that we are too, and how we move forward in life from here. Like, there's other things that's made us into who we are, but I feel like this is one of the bigger ones that I really never sat back and thought about before. But when we used to talk about it to other people, or when I would talk about it to people, they would be surprised that we moved so much, and I never really saw it as a big deal. So
It was our normal.
yeah, it was what we were used to. So yeah, we're gonna take you guys back and explain to you guys the whole thing first. Okay, so let's set this up. I was around 10 when we moved out of the last house we ever lived in to this day. You were almost 3, I believe.
Can't remember.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, I believe you were almost 3. So from then on forward, we were bouncing around from apartment to apartment. We became pros at it. We were like modern day nomads. We only stayed in a place for a year, usually like 2 years. I think there was even one place that we actually stayed almost 3 years, which was presidential. But yeah, for the most part, every year or two, we were on to the next. And living in California gets really expensive. And I know our parents wanted to do their best to stay in areas we didn't have to switch schools in. So that was one thing. Also, apartments could raise the lease 2 or 3 or even more times what we were paying. And so there would be nothing we could do about it, and we would just have to move. But it wasn't always about like money.
Yeah.
Sometimes we would move because the management was bad, or we had bad neighbors, or we were in a bad location. There was a lot of times like that. Memories, right? Bringing them back.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's crazy.
But I mean, there was all kinds of things. So much more. I really can't even remember them all. But anyways, that was just a little bit of like our background and like my perspective on it a little bit, or just what I remember. But I kind of want to know, like, what was your perspective of it all? Because I talk about mine, but I really want to know yours and kind of compare and contrast.
Ooh-wee mama. All right. So of course, like, first place we moved out of, like, that was a house. Of course, we already said I was like 3. Can't remember diddly squat about that. Not even like little like slight memories. I don't remember anything at all. I just always remember living in apartments, making friends in apartments. I remember having my own room for a little bit in apartments, and then there's a point where I just never had my own room. We were always sharing times.
There's like twice,
yeah.
But it was always brief, like we had it, and then like.
Yeah, and then I just didn't have my own room. And when I did have my own room, I didn't really want my own room. I was like super young.
Oh, at the time when you were
yeah. And I was too scared to be in my own room. Like, I had the bigger room than you. I didn't like it. And then when I wanted my own room, I just couldn't have my own room. So it was a lot of, it was craziness. A lot of moving. I mean, thank God I didn't have to change schools a lot. I mean, when I was younger, I knew I changed a lot of kindergartens and preschools.
You changed schools more than I did.
But when I came around elementary school, I knew that I innately did not want to move. And I feel like even if I did voice that, like, verbally, of course my attitude definitely was like, I don't want to leave my friends.
Right.
I don't want to move anymore. I don't want to have to make new friends anymore.
Right.
I was always good at making friends. I know Mom and Dad always said that, which is cool. Yeah, I can adapt. I can make friends. But I didn't want to. By elementary school, I very much had my own mind, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to move anymore. And the times that I thought I was going to move, it always did leave like a bittersweet, like, okay, well, if we have to, we have to.
Right.
But because Mom and Dad made an effort to always make sure we stayed in the same district, I got to go to the same elementary school, middle school, and then same high school. And even around high school, it got really crazy.
It was crazy because you were like taking like many buses and
from a different town just to come down to high school. And I was in extracurriculars with being in volleyball and getting onto the varsity team and being in theater, like all of that. Like, I was not gonna leave. Like, there's no way. I didn't care if I had to commute like super far, hours on end, and like get out of school at like 7 p.m. get home at like 10 p.m. Like, I didn't care. It was crazy around that time. I really felt it.
I remember that.
And I was just really stubborn. Like, there's no way I'm leaving this school after all this fight I put in to stay.
Yeah, you did what you had to do, which is what we're like used to, Like,
yeah. A lot of, I don't really talk about like, oh yeah, like I moved like here and there. Like, I thought it was normal. Like, yeah, you guys, like, the lease is up. They raised the lease. You move, right? Like,
exactly.
I thought that was.
It was just kind of like a matter of fact. Like, we would always just be like, oh, okay, like, I guess, it's coming down to like the end of the lease, and we all kind of like have a family talk or whatever. And Mom and Dad would just be like, like, I think we gotta go. We gotta find another place because this one is too expensive, or this and this and this issue is going on. So yeah,
and like even the raising the lease prices, like I didn't even like. California's just like that. Like, there's no rent control whatsoever.
Pretty expensive.
So it's like it's a hopper.
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Yeah.
Musical chairs with apartments, basically.
Yeah, we basically like almost all of Magnolia in Riverside. We've probably lived in every single apartment at one point.
Yeah.
We even kind of like dabbled a little bit in Moreno Valley. Like, we've been around. And but I mean, hey, it is what it is. And it's so interesting because I wonder, like, if this is more normal than we think it is for people to just move around every year or two. Unless you were raised by like military parents, I wonder if moving around is like a normal thing, because when I would talk about it to my friends, they would get so surprised. And my friends, like, none of them, for the most part, none of them really moved around like we did. So that's when I started to realize that, like, I guess this isn't really a common thing that people go through. And I guess we kind of have it tough, quote unquote, we have it tough a little bit. But yeah, I just feel like, that's part of the reason why I wanted to start this podcast. And not only that, but like do an episode specifically on this, because it has really shifted the way that I look at life and my perspective on life. So some other reasons I wanted to like talk about for this as an episode early on was because of my current status in life right now. COVID has kind of left us in a strange place in life, and I feel like I'm kind of in this limbo place right now. I feel a little bit displaced personally.
Great word for it.
Yeah, personally speaking, I feel a little displaced. And I mean, not completely because we're staying with mom, but mostly because my belongings aren't here. My things aren't here. My stuff is in California in a storage. As much as, yes, like this is home with, with our mom or whatever, like I feel displaced in some kind of way.
Right.
And I feel like that also has to do with the fact that like us coming here to be with her through all of this craziness going on wasn't supposed to be for a long time. We only intended this to be for a short period of time, and then things kind of just took off, and that's where I'm trying to go with this. Life is unpredictable. This is doing its own thing, and we're just having to go along with it. And personally, I'm also in this weird transitional place of my adulthood where I've got like one foot out the door and one foot still in, and I'm kind of getting out there on my own, but I'm not fully there yet because, I still need my mommy and my daddy to help me out a little bit here and there.
I think culture also plays a role in that.
Culture does. That's very, very true.
I think our African culture plays a role in the reason why we're probably not out right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually very true. I don't really think about it in that kind of way, but that's very valid because a lot of people, or a lot of women, a lot of like kids stay with their parents until they get married. They could be, but I mean, I feel like a lot of them are also getting married pretty young. I don't know.
In our culture, like you'd have like a serious boyfriend by now.
Yeah, or they finding you somebody.
Right. It's crazy. Not only that, but like the generational difference. I think older generations by your age, they were out and about because they hated staying inside.
Yeah.
With our generation, with technology and us staying inside anyways.
Yeah, and with the current economy as well. That plays a huge role in everything going on right now. So it's kind of hard once you're 18, you out on your own, out and about, like people were able to do once upon a time.
Right. Better can't be a chooser. I'm trying to survive.
For real.
If my parents got my back, my parents got my back.
Yeah. And that's what's been going on with me. So, when I was trying to come up with what I was going to name this podcast, I originally thought I was going to do something with the word vagabond. So according to Google, vagabond is a person who wanders from place to place without a home or a job. And I thought to myself, hey, that kind of sounds like me these days. I kind of feel a little bit like that kind of rings true a little bit. So that's why I was kind of drawn to the word. But I think a vagabond has kind of this negative connotation to it where people use it to describe someone negatively, like a tramp or a hobo. Yeah, I was seeing a lot of these type of words coming up for like synonyms as for vagabond. Yeah.
Not tramp and hobo.
More.
Like I'm both
vagrant, drifter, all of this stuff.
Nomad.
Yeah.
All of those. Tramp and hobo has a negative connotation. Yeah. That's why it's shocking.
Gypsy too.
Not the slang and the synonyms.
Yes. So I think vagabond could also be like a slang word, but it just I think it just basically means like a homeless person. And at the end of the day, like, we're not homeless people. We have a home here with mom, and if we were living with dad, there would be a home there too.
Right. Homes with the people, not a specific place.
Exactly.
Because the place is always changing. Never stability in that physical aspect, but emotional support with our parents, no matter where they are, we can be there too. Is what you have to hold on to at the end of the day. Yeah. People are what makes your home anyways, not the building.
Exactly. Which is like the biggest point to make out of this whole conversation we're having. But so I kind of started to resonate with that word a little bit more than I felt like I should have because of my current status. I sort of saw the word more like a wanderer or a nomad. Something a little nicer. Even a drifter. I feel like that's more fitting than homeless.
Hobo.
Yeah.
Trap.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. But for the record, y'all, I'm going to school. I'm a full-time student, so I don't need to work right now. But because I'm a full-grown adult, I have accumulated some bills from time. And so I personally need money to keep the bills paid. And that's kind of been the struggle all season long. But learning to save, budget, and having good credit really helps tremendously. So yeah, I just wanted to let people know out there that, even though I'm looking at myself as like a vagabond, like, I'm not,
I ain't no deadbeat.
Yeah, I'm not a deadbeat or something.
I'm doing my work.
Exactly. So yeah, anyways, so I saw the word vagabond more as like an adjective. And it basically just means to wander around without having a fixed home, like a nomad. And I say it all the time. Our family is kind of nomadic. I always say it to mom, like, we're nomads. Especially our parents, before they had us, and especially dad. He's always talking about how it just seems like he's lived everywhere in America at some point. Every time we bring up a place, he's like, oh yeah, I used to live there when I first came to this country. I stayed in there for
Old man, you?
Yeah, he's been everywhere. Our dad gets around, y'all.
Our father, nowadays, he's a little bit, he has a lot of stories that he doesn't tell us, but when he does tell us certain stories, I'm like, oh, now you were a traveler. Now you didn't stay in one place. Now you went to cool places.
He was that before he had us, and he is still that after he had us, because that guy lives everywhere. He cannot stay in one place for too long. So this is bringing me to my point, because I feel like people think because we were moving from place to place every year or two, it was bad and it hindered us in some kind of way. And I don't think it did necessarily. It may have been sad at the moment, especially when we didn't want to leave a place that we really liked living at, but it was also really exciting. And sometimes it was really good because we were leaving a place that we didn't like living at. But aside from the actual moving itself, because Lord knows, I hate moving. I hate, in all caps, I hate moving day, and I will always hate moving day.
No cap, all cap.
Because that's why I don't like having a lot of furniture, because I know I'm going to be moving at some point again, and the furniture is just a lot. It gets ridiculous. So aside from that, going from one place to another wasn't all that bad. Not only that, but we never went without. Our parents aren't negligent people. They weren't unfit to care for us, and that was kind of another reason why we didn't really feel it. There was never really a case where we felt, I don't know,
unwanted maybe, or not.
Because, well, because like sometimes I feel like, by saying, we had an unstable living environment, that means that like there was a problem with like the parents too. And that wasn't always the case.
I feel like a lot of people think that, like we were starving or we're scrapping the bottom of the barrel or something like that. And every day was sad and, like I was just barely making it through.
Yeah.
Like, no, like I was happy. We had a happy childhood. Our parents made sure that we felt loved. And
we were always together. Like we
never
were like...
There's a very tight bond in our family. And there's never time when I went without. And like, not only that, I could just see how hard my parents were working. I just feel so grateful towards them. You
just want to be a part
like
of the team.
They tried,
and just make everything work.
They tried their hardest to make us happy in any way possible, even if we were moving all the time.
They did a lot. I would even say like we were actually like really like protected and super sheltered growing up too.
Yeah, no, definitely. On the spectrum of whether or not we had like complete freedom or
because like for people
parents,
who kind of like we got around,
parents.
We got around a lot. Like we were not allowed to just go anywhere.
Nah, never that. Nah, our parents are heavy on religion, and we have strict parents, so it's like with all of that, we were kept safe no matter what, and we were loved no matter what. So you never felt. I guess that all of those things tied together help you not feel the heat of moving all the time.
Yeah.
It kind of takes away from like it's not really a negative experience. Plus, it's kind of an adventure.
Yeah.
We're what is it called? We are a kind of adventuring kind of family. We like to go on road trips. I guess you could say we just had a lot of road trips to different apartments. Met a lot of different people. Made a lot of different memories and experiences. All of it was super dope. I don't think it was wholly negative. I don't think anything's wholly negative.
Yeah.
So that's definitely how I feel about it, especially since it was most of my life. It wasn't something that I would look at it and be like, it's my Achilles heel, or it's what makes me the way I am in a negative way. No, there's a lot of positives to it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that real quick so that people don't really have that kind of thought about, about us and our parents. And, I feel like that's another positive thing I could say that the instability brought us, is that we grew up to become very humble people where we don't put too much importance on material things, because a lot of our stuff would come and go. We would have to downsize a lot, or we would lose things because, that's a common thing that happens when you move a lot. And so, we would lose things, we would break things would get ruined. And so we learned real fast that like we couldn't put much faith into our things sticking around. We were never really those people who would be like, quote unquote, like, going back to our like, quote unquote, childhood. Like that was never, we had nothing like that. That was never us. And, like we're owning our narrative. So this kind of leads me to my next point, which is kind of a sad one, but I think a very necessary one, and another reason that really encouraged me to share our story. It had to do with this woman I was watching on YouTube. The video was an apartment tour video. Those are kind of like my favorite videos to watch right now on YouTube. Those ones, and like room makeovers, like yeah, like like homemade HDTV style type stuff,
YouTube version. It's a lot better.
Yeah, they gave me a lot of insight. So this woman was doing a studio tour, actually. So she had a studio apartment, and she had like this cute little studio. And before she did the tour, she took some time to sit down and talk about her living situation prior to getting her very first apartment. And she was 25. I only bring her age into this because it kind of gives you like a perspective. It kind of puts it into perspective because, she was around my age, or she was my age at the time of making that video. So she talked about how unstable her life was growing up and got really emotional about it. And it really moved me because I understood where she was coming from. Now, her story was slightly similar to ours as well. I think it began when she was 10. but it ended a lot sooner when she was like in middle school, a lot sooner than ours did. So her instability was shorter than ours, but her situation was a little more dire than ours because her house was burned down and she had like 6 other sisters, a mom and her dad that she was living with. So they moved into this 1-bedroom apartment at one point, and then a couple years later they moved into a new home, and then that house burned down. Yeah. So
burning down her houses. Like, why do I imagine like a little villain coming in every time?
Just
to
like
make her life sadder.
Yeah, just
What is
like
it,
disrupting like
events?
everything she has going on. Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Stop burning. Put the fire away. Jeez.
Put the matches down.
Arson.
Yeah. So they had to move into another place until her parents were able to fix that second house up. And then they moved back into that second house, and then everything was cool. But she also stated how she didn't really feel bad growing up because it just was what it was, and she was with her family and she never felt at loss. But she was never able to like fully live on her own until she was 25. And that small studio apartment that she gave a tour of was her first like place of her own. And she was so proud and she felt so accomplished.
I feel proud of her.
Honestly, like, do you know what I would give to have a studio apartment right now? Wow. Like, that's amazing. In this economy. I mean, she was living, I think, in Maine. She even said that, like, she used to live in California, but, like, California was too expensive. But, nonetheless, like, she had her own place. So anyways, apparently someone on Twitter talked about how they don't understand why people feel so accomplished when somebody gets an apartment, like it doesn't matter. But to someone like her, it meant the world that she was able to get to that point. And I felt that so hard. I even cried a little listening to her story. It was like really unexpected. I don't even know what that feels like. You know, I still don't to this day. I haven't gotten to that point. And it's such a simple thing, but like, it would be so huge for someone like me to have my own space, whatever that is. It doesn't even really matter how big it is or, you know, how pretty it is. Like, it doesn't, like, I don't care, you know? But like, I don't even have that yet, you know? That day is coming. It's gonna come. But anyways, that might also be the reason why I'm also so into watching videos on YouTube. Like, you know, a girl can dream, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gaining some interior decorating ideas. I love interior design as well. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. So remember when we were talking about this like a little while ago, but remember when I asked you, like, I wonder what type of people we're going to become? Like, whether we're going to be the type of people who, once we get a place, we like never leave that place. Or are we going to become the type of people where we're always just going to be moving around because that's just what we're used to? Like, what do you think?
Ooh, tough. I think that question and those two behaviors can manifest into our lives in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I think physically, depending on whether... I feel like for me, I guess I can only speak on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like feeling secure and stable is not going to come from... It's for the rest of my life is never going to come from a place, a physical area.
Right.
I think it's going to come from people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in life I've made it so my friends and family and people that I care about are my anchors, not where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because nature happens to where I am, fires happen to where I am, robberies, burns down, things break.
That whole life is unexpected kind of thing. You
maybe
never
I can't
know.
pay it, maybe whatever it is. Happens, and I can't put my soul or hopes into a material place anymore. Personally, it's too risky. I think not only that, it's manifested in the way where I either make a point to only stick with a certain amount of people or never really keep anybody close. I feel like it also manifests in that way. But when it comes to the way I'm going to be in the future, I think I'm going to be the type of person that it could be either or. I definitely could be the type of person who, if financially staying in one place is dope and it's good for me, cool, but I think I might get bored staying in one place again.
Right.
Now, if we're talking about with family or with significant another, those are different factors that come into the picture. But if I'm talking about just by myself, then yeah, I don't know if staying in one place is going to be my thing.
Right. No, that's really good, because I kind of feel similarly to you. I feel like stability is, in a way, it's such a high thing on my list of things I'm trying to obtain in life right now. But at the same time, I feel so divided because there's a part of me that wants to be able to just move around everywhere and not have to feel tied down to just one place. Like, I want to feel like I can get up and go somewhere whenever I want to, you know?
Yeah.
Just sticking with that nomadic life for the excitement of it. And that might just be because I'm young right now and I'm just trying to gather experiences, and that's what's really important to me in the moment. I think it's part of the reason why I don't even really know if I'll ever get to a place where I decide I want to buy a house. Because as I get older, I'm starting to realize that there's a lot to buying a house that I personally find very unappealing. And maybe I'll get more into that in another episode. But yeah, I don't know. It could also be because I'm just really young and I don't have any like really huge responsibilities in my life yet, like raising a child, like you said, having a family, you know. I think maybe if I became a parent, my opinions on all of that would change as well too. And then that will be the time that I might actually seriously seek out full stability, because I would have, it wouldn't just be me, it would be, you know, the life of others.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to put
which is interesting that we think like that, because we're sitting here this whole time basically arguing, making the argument that like, oh, you know, stability, like unstableness was fine, it was actually a lot of fun, you know. And then we're over here like, yeah, no, I wouldn't put my kid through it though.
Right. You know, it's a little, I don't know if I'm selfish for being like, the adventure that you get from it, like I'm about to rip that from your life, but like, I mean, if that's the case, then I'll just get a really good job, buy a bunch of houses, and we can travel to each of those one by one at different times. Like, put a bunch of names of our different manors in the house, of houses in a little hat, and we can pull one, and we'll go there. Like, if
you got the money,
right? Like, we can make anything happen.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to put my money into something like that. I feel like I'd rather just maybe, if I was going to get a house, that I would just rent it, because that still allows me to get up and go once the lease is over or whatever it would be.
Right.
I could just get up and go, and then I could do something else, basically like what we were doing, you know? But I decide on how long I would stay in one place or another, and I would make sure that like I had the funds to stay there. So that might be what it is, but I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to buy a house, because there's just too many issues that come with a house that would be completely resting on my shoulder, and it would come with issues because most houses do. I just feel like owning a home is expensive, too expensive to be worth it to me at this moment, but you know, who knows? Only time will tell, right?
I will admit and say that I have always liked the idea of, even if we're like living in apartments, having a like vacation home.
Oh yeah, I like that too.
Like, I don't know if that's weird, but like, I know I said I wouldn't purchase a house or whatever, but a vacation home is cute. Like, a vacation home is definitely super cute. Like, I'm a fan. So that's a little bit odd. I think that's just more luxury.
Yeah, that's like, a luxury thing. I mean, like I said before,
send my kids, or have a place to have family from, like our parents stay if they want to come visit, or you know, we have family in Nigeria and Kenya. Like, if they want to come over, like, you know, you have a place to house them in.
Right.
That doesn't have to be my house
Mm-hmm.
or my place, which might not be a house, an apartment. There are a lot of problems with apartments, though. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'd be a fan of living through those all the way through my adulthood, and now with a.
I mean, we know
other.
very well.
Yes,
It
roaches,
is.
freaking gas or no gas or electric, and then
There's a lot.
water breaks and pipes, and you sharing with everybody. This everybody,
Right, girl.
like this ain't just you, sis.
Mm-hmm.
And living now,
It's
we're gonna live upstairs, downstairs.
Struggle bus.
Is there 3 stories now? Am I gonna live all the way up or all the way down or whatever it is?
Yeah.
So it's a struggle. They have pros and cons to both.
There's pros and cons to both. Yeah. But I think I'm definitely gonna get into that a little bit deeper in a later podcast, because that's something that I'm getting to an age. It's getting older. I'm getting older, and I don't know. I just feel like that's something that's I'm starting to question and wonder if that's something I should really incorporate as a goal of mine. But we'll talk about that a little later.
Instincts are being awakened.
Yes. I'm starting to think and care about different things in my life that I didn't really do before.
Whatever.
Yeah. But anyways, we should probably start concluding this conversation, because I feel like we've been talking for a long time. There's still a lot to be said, but I'm sure we made our points clear. Growing up in an unstable living situation was tough at times, and there are probably many things we missed out on because of it, but it has done us more good than harm, even in the moments that it sucked and we were sad. But in other moments, it was exciting, and it made us into humble people who don't put a great significance into material things. And overall, it made us stronger people, because adversities in life make us stronger if it doesn't kill us. So yeah, if that was our struggle growing up, it could have been something else. If that wasn't our struggle growing up, it could have been something else. We could have had it worse. And also, to be a little more real about it, if having an unstable living situation has hindered me or contributed to problems I deal with in my life today, I feel like I would have to seek a therapist to help me unpack and identify what that is, because I really don't know, and I wouldn't understand it at this point, So, do you have any final words to say?
No, I think every situation that can be seen as negative from somebody else can be seen as negative from somebody else. So what you see negative can also be positive, because everything in life has the light and dark sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you see it as a balance of the two, and you take from it what you will, then you're strong enough to get through it and to learn from it and get positive things from it. Self-growth, character development, how life works.
Absolutely.
And no reason to think anything bad. I think it did a lot of things for us,
right?
Negative and positive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely dope. My life, it's our life.
It's our story. It's our narrative, and we're owning that.
I wouldn't trade it.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
It.
Yeah,
Never
it's
that.
made us who we are today. Exactly. And ultimately, if you're surrounded by loved ones and you're treated with care, then it doesn't matter where you're living, because home is wherever I'm with you. I feel like that was basically our family's theme song. We would always sing that song, that line to each other whenever we were in moments of tougher times in life. Yeah, it kind of kept us grounded.
Couple around with people you love.
It kept us grounded and looking towards the bigger picture of life. So yeah, if you made it to this point, thank you so much for listening to us and hearing our story and our thoughts. Now I feel like you're kind of part of our family now, because you got to know us a little bit more.
Contracts need okay.
Yeah, so this was my first official meaty topic of the podcast, and I was able to do it with my sister, who I appreciate coming on here and getting all personal and candid with me about everything. Thanks, girl.
Pop collar. You already know.
Thank you.
Deuces.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on my socials to keep up with your girl. But other than that, stay safe out there, guys. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Wear your masks.
Stay safe.
Please.
Yes, we need to get back out there. I'm tired of being in lockdown.